Welcome for another podcast. Today with us we have a guest from Brazil, Hugi, who just returned back to Brazil after some time in Israel. Welcome.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here.
How was the trip from Israel to Brazil? A long and difficult flight? Were the planes still flying from Israel, or you had to go to some other country to be able to come back home?
Yes, for me, I start going to Germany and then I got a ticket for Brazil because the only company that is travel inside Israel is El Al, is an Israeli company. There is no other flights getting in or getting out of Israel right now. So I first got this ticket to Germany and then I got a ticket to Brazil. The flight was really tense, said like they gave me this advice to not getting in the plane really early because if you are inside the plane and start the sirens, you don't run to. So people told me wait to everybody to get in and then you get in. The airport was crazy. Like I wait in the line for 4 hours in a line of the airport. To get into the check-in and the flight was really sad for me because also I have many friends there and I would love to help more and but anyways I had to come back for also personal reasons and yeah.
How did your family react when they found out that there is a war starting in Israel? Were they very worried?
Yes, my family, first of all, I never let them know from the news. I go in front and I call them and I let them know everything that is going on. Because I was in Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is one of the safest place and all the time. But at the beginning of the war, that was more in the south with Gaza. Tel Aviv was quite safe here, I would say. We hear a lot of sirens all the time, like all the time. But still, I had a bunker in my apartment, and we locked the doors. Uh, we go out only when he had to. So I let my family know every step I made, so they were not super freaking out about my.
This is very interesting. These bunkers. Is this something that is very common in Israel? That even in big cities such as Tel Aviv, you have bunkers available?
A lot. All the most, like I will not say all the buildings, but I can say 95% of the buildings have their own bunkers. Not in their apartments. This is for new apartments, but they have one bunker for the entire building, and you need to go downstairs and then you get in the bunker. Also, you have public bunkers in the streets. This is all around Israel. You have these like really it's a known thing, unfortunately. Once last August I was also there and it started a siren and I didn't know what to do and I saw many people getting into stairs, so people that don't have bunkers can go to stairs and as far as they can from cars and yeah.
If I remember correctly, initially when the war started, Hamas was firing rockets at other parts of Israel, but the first time they fired rockets at Tel Aviv was probably 5, 6, 7 days into the war. And then you were not in Tel Aviv anymore, right? So you never saw any rockets over Tel Aviv yourself.
No, I did,
You
of
did,
course
you
I did.
did.
Yeah,
Okay. Uh,
for my bus
yes.
I
So
yeah,
you saw the famous Iron Dome air defense system shooting down rockets.
I have videos of it, yeah, from my own balcony, yeah.
Scary experience, very loud, very dramatic.
It's listen, I it's really scary experience, I can tell. I'm not used to wars. Brazil don't have wars. About the sirens, for me it was not really scary because the people around me always calm me down about it, that they had the Iron Dome and stuff. But when you like, sometimes the booms are so loud and so close. Like, I have one video that even you can feel a bit of the shake of the boom. It's really loud, and you can see many like boom boom boom. It's super loud, and you feel like, oh my god, if it falls on me, or the pieces fall near to me or to someone that I love. So every time the siren starts, people start to call to everyone, send messages. Is everyone okay? Everyone inside the bunkers? Everyone is good? Also, because I have this problem of the bunkers and the buildings that when only have one, that many people get hurt of the desperate to go down. So they start running the stairs, and there are too many people going the stairs, and they can hurt themselves. So we are always worried about us and someone else, for sure.
So how many days were you there after the war started before you were able to go back home?
Around 2 weeks, 2 weeks and a half.
2 weeks and a half. And how would you say, how was the general atmosphere among people? Many say that it was a complete surprise the first and second day. They could not believe that this has happened. There was no warning. There was no conflict going on in the days before. It came from nowhere.
Came from nowhere, yeah.
So, what did Israeli people talk between themselves when they were discussing about the war? What was the general feeling and atmosphere?
The first general feeling was, as I could see, the men wanting to go to the army. Like, they wanted to go and to join the army. I know that many people was more worried about what happened, how it was a surprise. But for Israel, in the first days, mostly, the more important thing was to fix the damage, because the damage was too big. They they took many army bases in the south. They took many families. We didn't really knew where they were. Like, where are they? They are in Tel Aviv now because they got in from land, from air, from the sea. So you always scared also from lonely wolves that could be around and doing terrorist attacks by themselves.
Yes, it was a chaotic period of time. Also, what many reacted to was the fact that when Hamas attacked, they had. I don't know if you can still hear me or.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, yes. Uh, because we froze. Okay, the picture is freezing, Yash, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, we can cut it. Okay. Well, I will ask. In that case, again, we will do some editing here. During the first day, a lot of videos appeared because Hamas was attacking with the GoPro cameras. They were filming a lot of the crimes that they were doing, and these were extremely brutal films. So I believe that on Israeli social media, a lot of people saw exactly what had happened very quickly, and this must have created very strong reactions among people. Was this something that they were talking with to you about?
Yeah, actually, I saw dear friends of mine crying about their friends that felt the soldiers that felt in the first day, soldiers that had family, they had two kids. Um, there was a father that figured it out about the kidnapping of their own family from a video, because he was trying to reach them from the phone, and then he received the video of his two kids and his wife and his mother-in-law getting in a car with the terrorists. I can tell you that Israelis are really united. They are really, they care about the people of them really much. They really are, and for them is really hard to see each one that falls, no matter if it was in a battlefield or if it is a civil that was just there. They care so much, like if it hurts their own. I have a friend, he changed his unit to be in a unit that go inside Gaza, because he said, I will bring Ev hostage back. I will be there to make sure that I will find that kids, I will find the people that are inside, and I will bring them back. and now he is inside Gaza fighting for them.
This conflict now has gone on for more than a month, and I assume that you're still in touch with many of your friends in Israel. Now, the army, as you mentioned, they have gone into the Gaza Strip, and they seem to be advancing quite quickly. Is there a feeling now that the way that the war is going, that it's going in the right direction? Or are there people who, for example, say that maybe we should slow down a little bit and spend more time on trying to negotiate the release of the prisoners? Is there some kind of debate about how the war is being fought, or everybody is more or less united in the idea of let's go in and crush Hamas as quickly as possible?
Listen, from where I know, what is going on in the streets is a bit different of what's going on with the big, like the generals and the big army heads, the heads of the army. There, even the opposition, like the people that disagree about the government, are all united. They take the decisions as a unity. But the people, yes, have many. There's people in the streets, people that are against the government before, and also people that they join with the people that have hostages, that do want that the government to do anything, to do whatever it takes to bring the hostages back. And then, but most of the people, I can tell you, they say no ceasefire, we not negotiate with terrorists. This is the most of the people.
Also, another thing with Israel, I think many people do not understand how multicultural Israel is. That you have Bedouins, you have Arab Israelis that are Muslim. Was there any kind of divide during the first days of the war that some people suspected other people, or there was a unity among these various different ethnicities in Israel during the first days of the war?
Um, Listen, in the first days, I can tell you that was Arabs around the street taking pictures of houses and filming their houses. Each made people really scared, like why you filming, and they calling the police. Also had Arabs that work in constructions and stuff like this. That when they saw the missiles, they scream about their God. They were also arrested. um, I can tell you that before this, all these people lived peacefully, happily. I never saw like someone mistreating someone because it's Muslim, because it's Christian, because it's Jew. It's all, it was all good, but after the war started, I can tell you that people are more aware. I can tell you, um, not not in a really bad way. I cannot say like people fighting them or something, but people are more aware.
Yeah. Also, the war naturally is being reported in media across the world. In different countries, it is being reported in a different way. How does it look like in Brazil? How does the media cover it?
Unfortunately, the media in Brazil are covering it as Israel is most of the media. I cannot tell about all of them because there is really serious journalists in Brazil also. But the big media, most of the big media, are treating this as Israel is the bad guy. Israel is mistreating the Palestinians. Israel not playing fair. It is really sad to see. Also, the video of Israel of 45 minutes was showed to the media in Brazil, as was in United States, I believe also in Europe, um, about the horrors, about these cameras that you talked about. There was in the terrorists, and the media in Brazil asked, "Are you sure these images are real? Are you sure these images are from this day?" Like they, the ambassador of Israel in Brazil, they needed to hold it him, like he need to hold himself, because people start to doubt the media that saw the video of 45 minutes, doubt it about the situation. So it's really sad.
Yes. Also, in Brazil, you have quite a large Jewish community. Has there been any reports about, for example, from Europe? We have seen sometimes that there have been certain anti-Semitic attacks, that they have been drawing Stars of David on the walls in areas where Jewish people live. Has there been any type of social problems in Brazil in connection with the war?
Yeah, a few days ago, Mossad tell to our federal police about uh, 11 people, I think, around Minas Gerais, São Paulo, and Brasilia. They were planning an attack to the Jewish community and the embassy of Israel. And um, they were planning about it. They were arrested. They talked to the police and they was released. Um, but yeah, we had this this almost a terror attack happen in Brazil, thanks to Mossad and our police. This was
Yes,
definition and
I I saw that there was some reporting about this, that these were probably members of Hezbollah, and Hezbollah has quite a lot of activity in South America. There was, for example, a terror attack in Argentina which targeted the Jewish community there many years ago now, of course, but in general, Hezbollah does have its presence. And Brazil,
also
it's,
Hamas.
yes, yes. And also, it feels like Brazil, like Israel, is a very multicultural society. And you also have a lot of Arab Brazilians. For example, one of the presidential candidates, Mr. Haddad, I believe, is of Lebanese background. And you have many Lebanese Brazilians, and naturally Hezbollah is quite strong in Lebanon. How does this Arab Brazilian community react to the war? Do they get any attention in media, or you don't hear their voices much?
About the Arabs, I'm not really sure. What I can see is the few parties of the government, the base of the government, doing demonstrations at the street, pro Palestine and also pro Hamas. They sing songs pro Hamas in the streets in São Paulo. At São Paulo. Um,
But
sorry,
I also saw there were big demonstrations, pro-Israeli demonstrations. I think it was in Copacabana. There were some protests.
yeah, yeah. We had also, you know, always had people, the Jewish people did big demonstrations, also in São Paulo, also in Rio. They also put many signs about the hostages in Rio de Janeiro, was really kind, really beautiful. I showed to all my friends in Israel because for me it's really important to show that the Brazilian people, although what the government says, the people are with Israel, are praying for Israel, are cheering for Israel, and
And going back to the situation in Israel, now that you're in contact with friends over there, what are they saying about the war now that the initial phase of shock has, you could say, maybe disappeared slightly, and now 5, 6 weeks in, this is more or less people are becoming maybe a little bit used to the situation. How are they adapting to the situation?
listen, it's not a Israeli way of life to be like crying and let the fear rule their lives. They're not like that. They say all the time, I will not let these terrorists to say what I can't or I can't do in my life. I will keep my own life. Of course, they are grieving, they are really upset, but people are slowly going back to the work, going back to do like, you know, like go a bit to the beach or to the park with family, with friends. So people are starting to get back to live their lives. Of course, this is in Tel Aviv, and Tel Aviv is kind of a bubble. It's a bit different than the rest of Israel. Of course, in the south, the situation is much different. That many people that were in the south and moved to the north, but now the north are really under attack because of Hezbollah. And but people are trying to, and also to keep the economy runs, understand? Like, because if you just let and stops everything, Israel will crush from inside, and people don't want that. People love Israel. The Israeli love Israel. That's for sure.
Also, the war is not just covered by normal media, but by social media. And Twitter is one of the main tools. You have a quite large account, and you cover also a lot of these news in Portuguese. How would you say that the Brazilian Twitter space is reacting to the war? Is it similar to the normal media, or is one side more popular than the other? And have you seen, for example, any problems due to your coverage? Do you get any threats, for example, for covering this war?
Well, first of all, the I covering the war in Portuguese because I can see they have many informations in English and Hebrew, but people in Brazil are really, they don't really have accurate informations arriving, mostly from the side of Israel in a big media. But in at Twitter, actually, I got few threats, like really unpolite and really unkind people talk to me sometimes. um, that's why I never say exactly where I am or something like that. But mostly I see people sending love to Israel, sending cheering for Israel, and this make me really happy. But this is the thing of X that I think is really fair. You can see both sides and you can choose by yourself.
One more question here about Israel before we start talking about Brazil is that naturally this conflict has been going on for many years between Israel and its various Arab neighbors, not only the Palestinians. In the discussions that you had with friends and neighbors, do people in Israel believe that there could be a time when there will be peace with their Arab neighbors, or do they believe that this conflict is so old that it will likely continue for many, many years to come?
Listen, you have both. I think people understand the reality about how hard is this conflict, but the people in Israel are really positive type of people, and I think they always cheer for peace. All Israeli wants is peace, and they don't want to fight any other country. That's also why Israel called their army Israel Defense Force, is a force to defend, because they know they probably will be attacked. But this is the situation. Most of the people want peace. They cheer for peace. They, before this war, as I told you, the Arabs, the Muslims, the Bedouins, the Christians, the Jewish were living in harmony inside of Israel. Everything, every sign in Israel have the right in Hebrew and in Arabic. Like, you can see that is a country that welcomed them somehow, put them in a really in better works. There was people from Gaza, the civilians from Gaza that worked in Israel for a while. Now not anymore. They had the visas canceled. But so far, what I can tell you is that you have both, because it's a difficult situation, but they cheer that one day this can be different. They can live in peace. That's all they want.